Center, and I'm joined by new offensive coordinator, quarterback coach Kendall Brown. Kendall, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Talk about the transition, of moving from Tallahassee, Florida to Fayetteville, recruiting having a short window. How has that transition gone up to this point, Coach?
It's been fast, and it is when you go into it. You got, I think they might have signed 7 guys in the first signing period. That may be incorrect, but it was somewhere down in there. So you knew you had some legwork. Didn't get in the first staff meeting on January 6th, and Coach Pitt was saying we got to have 2 quarterbacks. So time to go to work, and our staff, offense staff, defensive staff, everybody I think did a great job of ensuring that the relationships that they had were still stable and being able to sign a tremendous class.
Talk about those 2 quarterbacks, Felipe Franks, you get grad transfer, and then the big one yesterday. And we just talked about it. You've been after Malik Hornsby for several years. Talk about those 2 guys and how they're, what each guy will bring to that quarterback room once we get into spring ball and then fall camp.
Yeah, Felipe's here, so spring ball we'll be able to have him here. Malik Hornsby will be running track at Thurgood Marshall High School, so he won't. But Felipe, just getting a guy who's done it at a high level is the biggest thing. He's proven. You can buy a lot of things in this world. You can't buy experience, and he's got it. And so being able to have a guy who's done it at a high level with success. He walks in here, he's got credibility. And so that was huge, being able to get him. He's a great football player as well. And then Malik's just an all-around great athlete, really good quarterback, smart kid, and at one point had every offer in the country, so extremely excited to be able to coach him.
Take me back to when you accepted the job with Coach Pittman. Why Arkansas now, and what was so appealing to come and work under Sam Pittman here at Arkansas?
Yeah, I didn't know much about him, and then once I came here and met with him for 14, 15 hours. I just had a great feel around the guy. And, in this business, I've learned that if you're around really good people and you enjoy going to work, then you're going to thrive as a person. And he's going to allow that. And I'm really excited about being around him and coaching for him, helping him be successful.
For those that come to the games, what is your offensive philosophy? Or is it aggressive, or how does Kendall Browse like to attack each and every Saturday offensively?
Yeah, it always depends on the defense and our personnel offensively, what you can and can't do. But we want to be a tempo attacking football team, stretching people horizontally and attacking them vertically, whether that's in the run game or the throw game. So that's what we want to be. Hopefully, we'll be productive on top of all of that.
When you go out and recruit at whatever position, what's the one thing Coach Browse looks for?
Well, welcome in. It's our Friday edition of OTH here on KDSJ 479 from 1 to 2 p.m. And we came in with audio of new Arkansas offensive coordinator, quarterback coach Kendall Browse. The media had availability with all 10 assistant football coaches under Sam Pittman for his first initial staff. We caught up with 5, so we'll play more. But, Demetrius, in our sit-down with Kendall, I got a lot out of that. One of my main takes was the guy has a plan. He's going to really not watch any film, kind of, make his own assessment. And once they get in the spring ball of the ability of each and every offensive player. So I think with that being said, when you go into it like that, you have to feel good. If you're a redshirt freshman like Monte Spivey or KJ or Bo Limmer or even a Corlin Jackson, guys that, really, in my estimation, didn't get the full opportunity under Coach Morris and that offensive staff. But, what was your takes? Because, like I said, I got a lot of good stuff from that entire staff.
To me, it just seems like they want guys to work for what they get. Nothing's going to be given. I kind of got that vibe from all of the coaches. They just spoke on how everybody was just going to have to work and earn their spot. And I agree. Guys like Monte Spivey can get in there and possibly fight for that second or third string with Hakeem coming back. But it gives guys like Tyson Morrison that, have been here, leading up to his senior year to, get in that mix and get a fresh slate of whatever is produced on the field. And I think from a football player, that's all you ask sometimes, just to get a fair chance to get out there and perform in front of your coach, and you let your talent and play speak for itself.
I really got an enjoyment out of sitting down with defensive coordinator Barry Odom. We'll play Barry's sit down with us here momentarily. Also, too, we caught up with defensive line coach Derek LeBlanc, defensive backs coach Sam Carter, and also, too, was that the five we caught up with?
Jimmy Smith,
running back coach.
And I want to let the listeners know, if you want to go check out those interviews right now, you can go to our YouTube page, which is On the Hill Sports Talk LLC. That is our YouTube page, On the Hill Sports Talk LLC. And that Sam Pittman interview that we did sit down, it is on iHeartRadio and Spotify. So if you want to go back and recatch that, you can catch that on our YouTube, Spotify, and our iHeart.
I'm telling you, man, best in the business. He be on it everywhere that we can get our platform and let you guys hear all of our information. We're going to do it, and he does a really, really good job. So check out Spotify, iHeartRadio, our YouTube page. I even think we got an IG account. We're going to start doing more on IG, I think. I may have to step that one up. But we're going to step away real quick and let you hear more of our assistant coach availability that we had here on the Hill Sports Talk Radio up at the Smith Center. We caught up with defense coordinator Barry Odom. Here's some of his take on why he wanted to be a part of this football program under Coach Sam Pittman. And then we be back. Got any questions, shoot them to us here on our Facebook live stream. We love to break down the Arkansas Razorback football class under Sam Pittman. Who do you like? Expectations, is it higher, lower? Where are you at with this class, and what's your expectations for the future going forward as far as Arkansas getting in top quality Razorbacks? That's all coming up. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Let's get it.
Barry, you guys, instantly you come to campus roughly about 2 days after Coach Pittman gets the job. You have a hosting weekend, have to get out and recruit 3 commits. Not a lot of time to put together what you guys were able to put together, but did an amazing job. Talk about, how stressful that was, or, what was that process like?
Well, really, when I got the phone call and got the job offered to me and said yes, my wife and 3 kids, we jumped in the car and drove to campus. That was on a Friday because I knew there was an official visit weekend. I wanted to get around those guys, and I wanted to get around Coach Pittman. So from that moment until sitting here today, I feel like it's kind of been on fast forward. Just you're going and getting adjusted and trying to start to build relationships with your team. That's the most important thing. And now that we can't be on the road in February, that's going to be such a huge part of what we're trying to get done. But also this staff working together and the direct approach that Coach Pittman gave us, and the way that he charged us with going out and let's hit these numbers and these spots. He did a great job from starting on whatever weekend that was to finishing yesterday. I would feel pretty strongly saying if you just looked at recruiting rankings, I don't know anybody that's ever started at 118 and finished 29 in basically a month's time. Coach Pittman needs a lot of credit for that, on how he assembled the staff and then how, with a direct approach, he went and got it done.
Talk about your defensive philosophy. What will that be like here at Arkansas? Will it be aggressive style, or how does Barry Odom
the thing that I want to really take a hard look at is what we currently have on our roster, and then the coaches that have success over long periods of time, they're able to adjust to the personnel that they have. I could go draw up a blitz from the field and the boundary and all that, but if our kids can't do it, it's of no value. We've got to be great teachers, but we also have to give them a skill set, a tool belt on what they can go do, put them in position to use the skills that they've got where they can go play fast and they can play confident and they can play free but doing it within the structure of how we're going to play. But if you look at toughness and grit and playing together and playing hard and doing it for 4 quarters and finding ways to get off the field, either turnovers or takeaways, third down percentage, all those things go into core beliefs and values and foundational approach on building the defense. But man, if you can get the guys playing together and getting them playing hard and finding ways that they care about the guy lined up next to them a lot more than anything else, now you're starting to make some ground up. So schematically, we'll have a number of different looks that we have, but there will be things and standards on how the principles of playing defense, the things that we want to hit on every snap.
You and Coach Pittman, a long standing relationship.
Radio here on KDSJ, and we let you hear audio of our sit down with new defensive coordinator Barry Odom here at the University of Arkansas. And a lot, Demetrius, as we keep talking about, a lot that I garnered out of our sit down with our new DC. Really excited about the direction that this defense is going to go in. And, the things that I really like about Coach O is he's going to put his players in the best situation. And when he meant multiple schemes, whatever, if it takes a 3-4 weekend, they're going to play 3-4. If you have to go 4-3, they're going to do whatever it's going to take each and every Saturday to have their, to give them their best chance to win on the defense side of the ball. And that really excites me.
Those are some of the same things I was saying that if Chad would have implemented last year, he would have been a lot more successful. You kept hearing me say that Chad didn't have the pieces he needed to really compete in the SEC, but he did have talent on the team. But it just seemed like he was so focused on forcing the offense in the identity that he wanted to create into the program instead of kind of evolving what was here and letting it grow. And I think that's the biggest difference between Sam Pittman's staff and Chad Morris. To me, they're very open-ended from the sense of we have to work with what we got, and we can't force these players to do something that they're not skilled enough to do.
Right.
We have to kind of meet them in the middle, somewhere in the middle, and do what we're trying to do for the future, but also, do what's in the elements of the guys that we have on roster. And I think that's where you're going to see that big difference is this year. You're going to see games that we possibly could have won last year. We're going to win this year because I think these coaches understand and they have enough head coach experience to put these players in the best position possible to get success.
Nick Lee says they're going to win 6 games. I think that's a possibility.
I do.
I think this team could have won 6 or 7 games these past 2 years. I mean, this is better talent than 4-20 over the last 2 years. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind this is not 4-20 talent here at the University of Arkansas. I'm not buying that. I think maybe some coaches mistakes, missing on a few recruits as far as not having enough really gifted recruiters that get it in the SEC and know how to recruit the SEC. I think that's where Arkansas has fell victim. I mean, let's just be honest. That's really where I think the problem has been. But when you get a staff like Coach Pittman has put together, I mean, all these guys coached in the South, SEC multiple stops, lived in the South. They understand the type of player that you have to be able to compete in this league because most of these coaches that he brought were really good position coaches. And when you looked at where they were at the times they were at their schools, look at the production at those positions. Fountain, known to be a widely known special teams guy, not only at Georgia but Auburn. You look at Brad Davis. I mean, he's been at Florida, Missouri, now here at Arkansas. Had a lot of success as a player at Oklahoma, won the national championship. You talk about John Cooper. He's had a lot of success. All these coaches, they just get it done, dude.
And you know what that tells me is not only are these guys expertise or great at what they do, but they can give the coach insight on what can possibly be implemented to make the team better. And I think that was something that was also missing from Chad's staff last year. Last year, Chad had too many yes men. Whatever he wanted to do, they went. But I think with this coaching staff, you have a collective group of men that collectively bring football philosophies, ideas, theories, schemes, the whole 9 yards of the football spectrum to the table. And I think that's really where you're going to get a true insight of each individual positions. Coaches that know what they're doing, and not only that, they're not scared to tell you, hey, coach, we might want to try to do this versus that. And I think Sam Pittman was smart enough to go get people that were smarter than
Right.
him. You know, my dad always used to tell me, if you really want to be a millionaire, you have to go find people that are better than you in the areas that you're insufficient in. And
Right.
I think that was the very thing that Sam Pittman went out and did. He went and got guys that were educated and that he can collectively go behind closed doors to and think about football things and ideas together.
Bobby Denny has a great question. He says multiple sources that he knows close to the program said that Coach Morris didn't view the preferred walk-on program as Coach Pittman. And his final question to that was, Demetrius, do we think, in our opinion, that Coach Pittman and the staff will allow these preferred walk-ons to come on and fairly try to obtain a starting spot? I 100% think that that's going to be what the case is. I think the best players will play regardless of being a preferred walk-on, the highest rated guy on campus. I think the best players that are going to play physical and play with passion and purpose are going to play and represent the University of Arkansas. I mean, that's my humble opinion. And so, yes, I do think that they're going to give a fair chance and a realistic opportunity for those PWOs to impact this football program.
I think it's going to be more than fair. I think Sam Pittman wants guys that want to be here. I don't care if they're walk-ons. I don't care if they're 5-star, 4-star, 3-star, 2-star, and 1-star. He wants guys that want to wear that Razorback emblem and want to do whatever is necessary to take this program to the next level. And the thing that I like about Pittman, he's not scared to take a scholarship player and take their scholarship from him and give it to a walk-on player.
Right.
So to me, you have to have that type of presence in your program to keep everybody on edge, knowing that, hey, your spot's not safe. You have to come in, year out, ready to work. And I think that was something, dating back to probably Bielema, that a lot of guys got complacent. They knew, oh well, I'm a scholarship player. The only person that I seen Bielema really do that to was Randy Ramsey. He was the only person that
that was different. I mean, that was a weird situation.
That was the only player that I seen. He would
very weird.
That
situation.
was a great player that he would take their scholarship and make them walk on. But there was other guys on the team that I thought he would have done the same things to, and he didn't. So I think with Sam Pittman, you're going to see consistency even with that, with the treatment of players across the board. I don't care.
We got a lot of questions we got to get to, Dan. Donnie Butt says, do y'all think with the differences in line play from the past 2 years compared to what is going to be this year, do y'all think it will help the recruits? Yeah. I think offensive line play on both lines of scrimmage will be vastly more aggressive, more violent. And what I mean by violent, in a good way. I think Arkansas will stop being, and I like to use this term, pitchers and catchers. I felt like over the last couple of years on the lines of scrimmage, Arkansas was more of the catcher than the pitcher. And if you're catching more than pitching, that's not going to be good. Hence, you're going to miss a lot of those short yardage, 4th and 1, 3rd and 2 opportunities that you don't get because you're on your heels. And I think Coach Pittman and his staff, it starts with the strength and conditioning, his philosophy. And and I'll go back to our sit down. If you hadn't got a chance to hear what Coach Pittman said on that topic, check out our one-on-one on iHeartRadio. Demetrius did a great job with the production of it, and you can kind of hear his philosophy because that was a question that we asked. The strength and conditioning. I think you'll see it because they're going to be bigger and a lot faster. And like I said, they'll play more violent. Demetrius, where are you at with that question?
As far as what question?
He wants to know the differences in line play compared to the last 2 years.
I think you're going to see consistency in a lot. I think you said it right, pitchers and catchers. I think you were talking about givers and takers. Like, you're going to see this offense be attacking. There was too many times you've seen our offensive line going backwards, or it was a stalemate. If you have a stalemate from an offensive line perspective, you actually lost the battle.
Right.
The defensive lineman has done what he was supposed to do. I think now you're going to see us have a downhill offensive line that, you're going to see guys pancaking guys. You didn't really see a lot of that last year. So I just think across the board, you're going to see a more physical style of play, and you're just going to see guys just aggressive and be more assertive on that offensive line.
Billy Wayne Carter, he's one of our top listeners and viewers, by the way. He chimes in with a great question. I think that this new staff will just help us to add to this team. I can't wait until the 3rd and 4th year with this team under Coach Sam. Absolutely, because I think it goes back to recruiting. What Coach Pittman and that staff were able to do in roughly about 10 and a half to 12 weeks, if that, to bring this class from, I mean, let's face it, it was in the mud. It was rock bottom. It was going to be one of the more historically bad classes in all of Arkansas football history. Hence, might have continued Arkansas on this downward spiral of not winning conference games and just continuing to struggle. What they were able to do to go from 120 to number 29 speaks volumes for what they can do if they can get on, win 4, win 5 next year, continue to build momentum, and then go out in a year's time, build the types of relationships that I know this entire staff is going to be able to build. I see each and every recruiting class, I'll go on record, Demetrius, to say should be rated higher than the previous class, because I think that's the ability that these guys are going to have to be able to attract the nation's elite. You know, you've already, I mean, he was here, and 5-star Broderick Jones comes in and takes an official visit. You know, that doesn't happen if Sam and this staff, Brad Davis, those types of coaches aren't on this campus, and that's what leads me to believe. I mean, this is going to be a program that will continue to trend upward, and you know, I agree. In year 3 or 4, the sky's the limit for this program, because then you have roughly 3 full classes under Coach Pittman, and I can just only imagine if you give him 50 to 70 some odd scholarships, what this coaching staff and Coach Pittman can attract to Fayetteville, Demetrius.
Yeah, I think the sky's the limit, because I think they're gonna win games. I think anytime you have a guy like Kendall Browse, you know, he's gonna put up points. So that's not a question. And I think the more people stick around, they see kind of the schematics of what Sam Pittman's trying to do. You know, with what he said. You know, I was surprised when he gave us what he described as the needs for the team. You know, he said defensive lineman, offensive lineman, quarterback, and I believe like the entire defense. He made a statement that was what he was after, and I think he did a great job going in and putting those voids and getting this team to where it can be competitive. I just think now, like I said the other day, I think the thing missing from this team is going to be cohesion. Can this team gel together and everybody understand their role? And I want to say there was an assistant coach. Jimmy Smith. He was talking about the running backs and how everybody can eat.
Right.
It's just everybody finding their role within what we're trying to do. There's enough touches and enough play that everybody can eat, and I firmly believe that across the board from the team.
Speaking of Jimmy Smith, we'll take a break. Let you hear our sit down with Coach Jimmy Smith, the new running back coach here at the University of Arkansas. A lot of good stuff came from our sit down with Jimmy, and then we'll come back and tackle more of these great questions that our listeners and viewers are chiming in. It's a great day to be on OTH. It's a great day to have that. Hey, you're listening to On the Hill on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit. Let's get it.
Thanks a lot.
Sitting here at the Smith Center with running back coach Jimmy Smith. Jimmy, welcome to Fayetteville.
Oh yeah, nice to be here.
How's the transition gone? Early in your coach career at Arkansas. I mean, what's it been like? Getting adapted to Fayetteville.
On the field is well, football wise, it's been going pretty fast, recruiting wise, and now we're starting to get into some ball and getting things started. But I'm excited. Off the field is great, man. Great community, great people. Everybody want to help you out. They can't help you on the lead you in the right, point you in the right direction. So I'm excited about what the future holds.
What went into you taking this job? I know you had a prior relationship with Coach Pittman, but how excited are you to be able to be the running back coach for such a highly respected coach as Sam Pittman is?
I'm super excited, man. When he called me about the opportunity, I was excited. We was getting ready for some things at Georgia State, and it was like a dream come true at the time. But now it's settled down, and now I got some things we got to do.
State of Georgia, you're highly respected in that state. Just 2 years ago, you were a high school football coach at probably the best program in that state. Talk about, how much of a whirlwind it's been that just 2 years ago you're a high school coach and now running back coach in a Power 5 conference and what I consider the best SEC West.
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, but it's been a good one. If it's I think it's a good storm, it's been a good storm. The process has been, like I say, fast.
Here on the Hill, Pat Jean Sports Talk Radio, and we're going to get back to the questions. I mean, they just keep rolling in, and Donnie Butts has another really good question, Demetrius. Donnie wants to know, who do we think will have the biggest impact of the new recruits? When you look at this roster, Demetrius, and I'll let Demetrius answer, and then I'll give my estimation, but when you look at the roster, the guys, I'll have to say guys, I can't just say one, but I think the offensive line of Ray Curry, Jalen St. John, and Marcus Henderson will have the biggest impact for this upcoming year out of all the recruits, because I anticipate those three guys to really come in here and play in year one as true freshmen on that offensive line. I think Arkansas and Sam Pittman has a history and well known that he's not afraid to play true freshmen. I mean, he played two here prior being here with Denver Kirkland and Dan Skipper in that same year. Then you look at what he was able to do moving on, playing Andrew Thomas and those true freshmen at Georgia. So, I mean, his ability to play the best lineman, and that's what I think. I think those three linemen, in my opinion, Demetrius, will have the biggest impact out of the class. Where are you at with that?
Well, you said offensive line, offensive line guys. Since you said that one, which I do agree with you 100%. I think those are the guys that have probably the best chance of coming in and playing immediately without just competition. When you look at the roster and look what they bring, I just think they jump out to you on the paper and kind of get that nod to go out there for the one reps. But if it's me and just looking at what the needs are on the team, I'm going to have to go linebacker. I think somebody in this linebacking group, and I think Sam Pittman goes and converts one of those defensive linemen to linebacker. And I actually think it would make sense to do the kid from Bryant. I just think he has the ability to really go play linebacker. And I think once Sam Pittman gets to seeing him move around, you're going to see him kind of make that jump from defensive line. And I'm not saying he won't play any defensive line, but I think he's the one guy that I saw on film that stuck out to me like, man, he could be a dog, middle linebacker or even weak side because he had such great hips. But I think it's going to be somebody at that linebacker with Scooter leaving and, Dre leaving last year, excuse me. There's kind of a question mark at that linebacker position. And I think either that transfer linebacker or one of these young guys are going to have to really come in and play right away.
Let's see. Billy Wayne Carter, another top fan, and Billy always shoot us great questions. He wants to know, what was your biggest surprise on signing day?
Mine was Rakeem Boyd.
Yeah, Rakeem.
I know Rakeem wasn't for signing day, but I think he had the biggest impact to me and the biggest influence on the direction of this team.
Right. I think for me, I'm probably going to have to say Marcus Henderson. This was a guy that I had remember, seeing a junior day when Coach Morris and staff were here, and then to move on. I didn't get a chance to see him return back his senior year. Arkansas was nowhere on the radar. This staff under Coach Pittman, he brings Brad Davis, and then the wheels start to really go in Arkansas's favor. And then, you still kind of thought maybe, but didn't really know, because then there's a trip. The young man's going to Alabama, and then he's going to take a trip down to the lane, train at Ole Miss. And we all know how revered those two head coaches are. Proven head coaches, but at the same time, you couldn't overlook the relationship that those guys, that Marcus had built with Brad and Barry, and being able to come and reconnect with Sam and Coach Sherrier as well. All those guys from Missouri that he was so familiar with. So I think the biggest surprise for me would have to be the Under Armour All-American Marcus Henderson, the offensive lineman from Memphis University. It would have to be, without question. So that's our surprise of the class. Now Terry Roy, Demetrius, he always shows love. And the one thing he makes is I've yet to hear one of these coaches say, "Not our players." That's a great thing. That is all we heard last year, and that hurt players.
What's that?
About the coaches saying it, it's not their players. They've embraced all these young men, and Terry says that, he didn't feel that was the case in last year's staff, and I can agree. I did see a disconnect as the season wore on. You could just tell, even on the sideline amongst the coaches, that there was a tremendous disconnect, Demetrius. I mean, you were right down. As you spent a lot of time field level, sideline level. And I mean, what were some of the things that you got a chance to witness on the horrible disconnect that was taking place on that sideline?
I mean, I think everybody could just see the communication factor. I think just outside looking in, you just saw no communication, even when it came to Arkansas being down 20 points and no emotional response or communication was relayed from coaches to players when it got down. It was just like everybody kind of looked around like, "Hey, somebody say something." I think that's why Sam Pittman keeps emphasizing confidence. That's a key word that I keep hearing Coach Sam Pittman say. I need to get these guys in the weight room to build their confidence. Right. Confidence. Hey, we got to get these guys in there so we can build their confidence. That's just a key word that I really feel he's really emphasizing, and I think that was one of the things that was really lacking last year. I think guys knew from an internal standpoint that they didn't have the coaches' knowledge to really compete amongst the SEC. Right. So they just didn't have any confidence going out there week in, week out to really play their hearts out.
Absolutely. And make a note that Arkansas September 12th road game at South Bend versus Notre Dame Irish will be at 1:30 p.m. on NBC. That is September 12th.
It's a big game for the program. Huge game for the program.
I mean, that's going to be a tremendous game, and I think, it's going to be a tall task for Arkansas. Notre Dame's going to have quite a team coming back from this past season, a returning starter at quarterback. Tommy Rees will be the new offensive coordinator, having been a former Notre Dame quarterback himself, so he's going to have a little extra passion, for the offensive program there at Notre Dame. So there's going to be a lot of new moving parts. Arkansas is going to be a program that's going to be expected to go to South Bend, and, let's be up front, Demetrius. They're going to be a large underdog. I mean, let's just be straight up with it, because based on the past 2 years, winning 4, losing 20. So this team is going to have to really adopt a chip on their shoulder, us against the world mentality right out of the gate. You follow that up with Mississippi State. You have A&M. There's Alabama. There's LSU along the way. So, when you come out the gate in 2020, you better be ready to go. And I think, with having this staff that Coach Pittman has put together, gives me a really, really refreshing feeling that they're going to be able to go in and compete both physically and schematically with a lot of teams in this upcoming year. Now, will there be a lot of wins? I think they're going to win more than 2 games than what they've won the last 2 years, and no doubt. But we're going to step away real quick, and then we'll take a few more questions. But we're caught up with defensive line coach, new defensive line coach, Derek LeBlanc. We'll let you hear what D had to say, and then we'll come back with a few more questions and wrap this thing up. This On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
Smith Center, and I'm sitting alongside Arkansas defensive line coach Derek LeBlanc. Coach LeBlanc, welcome to OTA.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Talk about it. How has it been? First couple of weeks on the job. I know you guys hit the ground running, had to put together a class in a very short amount of time. But how has the transition gone?
Man, fast. I mean, it's a little more difficult now with the early signing day when you're a new staff and you have to go in Back in the day, you could fight till February and battle for some guys, but now, I think Coach Pittman got hired a couple of days before early signing. I think he did a great job of getting started and getting guys in the boat really early. And then the momentum through January to now, I think it's been pretty good considering the circumstances.
We had a mutual friend, Coach Michael Smith. You
Yeah.
coach with at Kentucky.
Right.
Yeah, I called Mike when I heard that you possibly would be the coach. What were some of the things that Coach Smith explained to you about working here and coaching at the University of Arkansas?
Well, I think everything that's shown itself to be true. Like, he said it was a great place, which we knew it was. He loved this place here. A lot of good people here. He had a lot of friends here. He talked about the facilities and the ability to recruit to this place. That I think he had a little bit of success himself getting kids to come here. So everything he had to say was through the roof.
When you go out and recruit, like I said, you had a short amount of time. What was the message that you guys, as a staff, tried to get across to prospective recruits? Just, because you guys didn't have a lot of time.
Right. Well, convince the kids that we can win here. And it's been proven that we've won here before. And getting kids to believe that we can win and compete in the SEC West here at Arkansas and the resources that we have for them. I think here, you look around through these windows, this place is really second to none when it comes to what's available for the student athlete. And I think that was the message that was sent to the kids and to the parents.
You got here, sat down with Coach Odom and staff. What made you want to be a part of that offensive staff at the University of Arkansas?
I think it starts with good people. I know it sounds cliche, but it starts with good people. Start with the head coach. I got a chance to go and coach against Coach Pittman and coach against Coach Odom and saw the things that they were doing individually with their respective teams. And then really a good friend of mine is Brad Davis, who I trust with everything, man. So there's a couple of things that came together that just made me want to be a part of it.
Coach Pittman said
that him and Barry Odom were sitting around the table talking and said, "Hey, you want to go after the Kentucky guy?" Is that how they explained the story to you?
That's what they said to me. But I just know I got the phone call, man, and I was ecstatic to get that call and wanted to be a part of it, and I'm happy I'm here.
When you look at the SEC, we always know from as it's a line of scrimmage league.
Yes.
What is it that's so different from the line of scrimmage play than any other conference, in your opinion, Derek?
Well, everybody's big and physical. I think everybody recruits big and physical. This league is known as a team that if you're going to win a championship, you got to be able to run the football. I know what everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to see a lot of points scored. Everybody wants to see a lot of the excitement in the stands. But at the end of the day, from Pee Wee football to the Super Bowl, the teams that can run the ball typically win those big games. And it starts with the big guys up front.
Your particular philosophy on the defense.
Now we're back here on OTH on KDSJ 479. Real quick, want to give a shout out to our sponsors, as we'd be remiss not to mention our beloved sponsors. With that being said, Lindsay and Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also too in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Corey Beck's Custom Painting and KDK's Chicken. It's located at 989 South Razorback Road. And want to get to a few more questions from our viewers. We'd love to answer them all, but you guys just do a good job with asking so many that, we'll definitely get to the ones that we can. But a question, and it was, I believe by Zach, had a great question, and it was, do you think Turner, which he means Darian Turner, will play wide receiver or safety? He's going to be at Sam told us on signing day press conference that we had on Wednesday that Darian Turner will be solely at wide receiver for the University of Arkansas, and I think that's going to add even more problems to defensive backfields for the future going forward here at Arkansas when you play the Razorbacks. Now you're adding another 6'3", 6'4", 200-plus pound wide receiver with great speed, great athlete. So I expect Darren Turner to make a lot of plays, Demetrius, for Arkansas at wide receiver. It just gets deeper and deeper. Hence, there's a reason why Justin Stepp was able to be retained because, you look at the talent that he's brought into the University of Arkansas based on just the relationships that he's built. Knox, Burks, Woods, Nash. Now you get Darian Turner. So you're talking about 5 guys in just the 3 years that he's been at the University of Arkansas, Demetrius. pretty big talent. So I think, as I say, Darren Turner, you can expect to see at wide receiver at Arkansas.
Yeah, I believe Sam Pittman actually commented on that during his press conference and just said because I think they were recruiting him at another position, but I think Sam nipped that in the bud and said he would be playing a wide receiver. He just loved the way his ball skills were, just had a nice body to play with receiver. But then let's go back on and talk about Coach Stepp, man. I think Stepp is a great guy.
Right.
I think he understands the situation he's in. I think upon him coming to Arkansas, I don't think he ever would have saw it play out this way. But I think with this coaching staff, I think it's going to take them to another level. I think anytime you get to work under Kendall Browse, guys like Barry Odom, guys like Sam Pittman, these are guys that can really teach you something, and not only teach you something, expose you to a different network and net worth. I think Sam Pittman can really instill a lot of football ideas and concepts into him, and I think this is a great group of men from an integrity standpoint. And Coach Stepp is a guy of high integrity to me. Anytime he's all about his family, all about his son and his wife. So I think this group of guys from top to bottom is actually a better upgrade. And when you're talking about becoming a man, being a football player, being a football coach, I think it's really going to elevate Coach Stepp as a coach itself.
Right, and what we're going to do, we're going to leave you with, as we close today's show, we're going to leave you with DB coach Sam Carter. But before we do that, we want to give all our shout-outs to our sponsors once again, Lindsay & Associates, with an office location in Fayetteville, an office location also, too, in Rogers. Locomotion, located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. KDK's Chicken, it's at 989 Razorback Road. And lastly, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. I want to give a shout-out to all of you guys, as this would not be possible without the gracious support of all of our sponsors. I want to give a shout-out to my producer, Demetrius Johnson, for all of his hard work this week. We were at Media Day. We were everywhere. And he brought it home, just like always, with great audio that we had on our YouTube page, Facebook. Also, too, if you don't get a chance and you hadn't had a chance to hear our sit-down with the pit boss, Sam Pittman, you can do so by checking that out. It's on iHeartRadio. You can also check it out on our YouTube live stream. That's On the Hill Sports Talk LLC. Make sure you go over to those. I believe there's another one, right, Demetrius, that they can hear it? Is it Spotify or?
It is Spotify. And then also, if you want to go check out the assistant coaches that we got from yesterday's coaches availability, they are on our YouTube exclusively. So you will have to go to the YouTube to check out all the coaches from Barry Odom, Kendall Browse, Jimmy Smith. They are located on our YouTube, and the one from Sam